All right, we are recording.
All right, well, good morning. If you have not grabbed the agenda, I believe this is the link for today. Does that look right, Jason?
Sorry, I'm trying to record all of our attendees. Where is my chat window? There it is. Yep, that should be the right one.
Okay. All right. So we're starting off with announcements. Do we have anybody with any exciting news or announcements? All right. Well, that's exciting. Let's see how exciting it gets when we talk about 1705 experiences. Has anybody upgraded to 1705 yet?
Yes.
Awesome. How's that going for everybody?
Yes.
It went pretty smoothly here. Bywater fixed all our reports that got messed up from the reports then the same day that we updated. Very little issue there, and that was the only thing that
Awesome.
we really had any problems with.
Yeah, I just got word from Barton. There's a bug that the holds awaiting pickup. When you upgrade from 1611 to 1705, the expiration date on all of the holds changes to the date that you upgrade, and so the holds awaiting pickup, the holds over X number of days will reset. None of those will show up correctly until because all of the hold expiration dates are being reset to the date of the upgrade. So,
but they can fix the date.
Right. That Nick was able to put together a report that reset all our dates for us. So if that does happen, just make sure that that's
yeah.
So
yeah, we had that resolved that first day as well.
I upgraded kind of by accident. Same way I upgraded to 1611. The only problem I've had is when you're trying to check out something or look up a patron, little box appears that's I think asking for notes or something. And it's really hard to get rid of. But if you clear the Firefox cache, it'll be okay.
Fred, how do you accidentally upgrade?
When I was doing a Linux upgrade for security patches and such, and apparently it included Koha Common, which is now 1705.
Okay.
There's something you can set that you can now set to the version number that will prevent that from happening. You probably have reference to stable or old stable or something like that.
Yes.
The use of version numbers now in support of that is greatly appreciated, and I put mine in because I'm not in a hurry to upgrade to 1711 because I've been running 1705 for a while, and so I changed my line to 1705 so I know I'll be on the 1705 thread for a while yet.
Yeah, I know it's possible. I just haven't done it yet. Well, I don't remember where that email is.
The biggest thing that we've run into with our upgrade, aside from the holds date, was people have been noticing some lag on check-in. Particularly, there seems to be, and there's some theory about this, and we are going to be doing some testing. But when you do a check-in, on the check-in screen, there is now counters next to the patron name showing how many other items that they have checked out, and it's believed that that process may be slowing the check-in. So we're investigating to see whether or not that's the case or not. But they're reporting that if a person has other checkouts, it can slow down the process, and I think they were saying that it was slowing it down. It was slowing it to about 3 or 4 seconds per check-in, and if you're checking in all day, I mean that's 3 to 4 times longer for your day doing check-ins, and so that's 3 to 4 seconds doesn't sound very significant for a single item, but when you're doing a lot of items in a day. That adds up to be a lot. So.
Isn't there a system preference for to set how many check-ins show up on that page?
How many check-ins? I'm not sure.
Yeah, to show the. I'm trying to think of what it is, but it seems to me you can say whether it shows like the last 10 things that were checked in that table, or you can set it up to however much you want.
I know that you can turn off in-house browses from showing up on that table, but yeah, I'm not sure about the
Actually, here's the preference. I just flipped over and found it. It's num returned items to show. Tells you how long that table is, and if we have it set to 20, so if you've got it set longer than if it's loading like the number of check-ins from the last like 100 items, it seems like cutting it down to like 20 would. So you might want to look at that system preference to see how many are showing up in that table.
That might help, but it's also, I think, part of the number that it's showing per check-in. You know, you check in a single item, then it pops up that number that says this user still has 30 items checked out.
Yeah, so even if you show like the last
check-in
one that
exactly.
you did,
yeah,
it's still going to delay that check-in process until it's ready to scan the next item. So I don't know how much that's going to help. I mean, at least you're not populating the entire page with all those numbers.
So at least
well, and if you've got if you've got things from a lot of different patrons, if it's gathering data from like, if you've got it set really high and you're gathering data from a whole bunch of different patrons, that's going to slow it down. Then if you've just got the last 5 or 10, then you're only going to be getting from a few patrons instead of from a whole bunch of patrons. So that might make a difference there.
The question is whether or not they did anything smart with it, not having to recalculate it every single person on that screen every time the page loads, or if they just drop that information down and add to the table at the top.
I think it reloads every single line on that table every time you do it. So the more lines you have, the more data it's going to have to go fetch.
Yeah. So that may help. It will still probably have a little lag depending on how many items that patron has checked out. How it's counting. So anyways, that's something that we ran into. Any other comments about the upgrade experience?
I was supposed to report back on text messaging because we took that plunge. It all seems to work fine. The only thing that's still not working, which we knew, was overdues, and we're not sure we want to send those with text anyways. But before the check or the pre-due notices, advanced due notices, and the hold
filled.
Yeah, hold filled weren't working, and those are working fine for us now. So that's exciting. The biggest thing we've run into with that is we've got people that have like straight talk phones, and they don't always list what network they're on. So people have to go out and figure out that it's actually running on a Verizon network and put that in as their provider to get the text to work.
One of the things I've noticed about the texting is, and I could be wrong about this, is depending on the character limit and depending on what you have in cut off the text at a certain point. So it doesn't give them all, but it's not consistent, and I haven't figured out what, because I've only got limited access to providers.
Yeah, we set up the templates to be really, really short, so I haven't noticed that anywhere yet, but that's something to watch for sure.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, my frustration with the upgrade was inventory. They did some, George just linked the free carrier lookup. That's what we've been telling people to use to figure out their straight talks as well. But for inventory, there were some improvements that took away some functionality with when you upload an inventory file. It doesn't tell you if the item was checked out and they checked it in. It just happens. There's a new checkbox that'll disable that, which is okay. And then it also doesn't tell you if it flipped an item over from lost. It just does it. So on the other hand, there are a few new options where you can actually export the results to an Excel report, which is nice. It skips the whole step of marking things lost. It just does it. which was scary at first, but it's actually a big improvement. So I'm just getting used to it, but there were a few things that we lost that were kind of frustrating.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. All right, so we'll move on. I'm going to interject something here. Just we haven't done this before. I see that we have a lot of participants today, and I just want to briefly go around and have everybody introduce themselves, because we don't do this all the time, and there are some new faces and new people here, so I wanted to say hello to everybody. My name is Christopher Brannon. I'm the president of koha-US, and we're glad to have you here today. And I'm going to have the other board members say hello, and then we can have other people introduce themselves real quick. I'm with the Coeur d'Alene Public Library Cooperative Information Network in northern Idaho.
I'm the koha-US Vice President. I'm George Williams. I work for Northeast Kansas Library System in Lawrence, Kansas.
I'm John Sturbins. I'm the treasurer of koha-US. I'm at the University of Michigan Kresge Business Administration Library, and we're running 1705 here.
I'm Jason Robb. I'm your secretary. I'm the Seek and Find coordinator in Southeast Kansas. I work for the Southeast Kansas Library System.
And it doesn't look like Fred is here. Fred is our member at large. So go ahead and let's go around and introduce ourselves. Somebody chime in.
I'm
Ed. No,
three of us did. Oh man. Okay.
Yeah, how would you do that?
Here, I'll call you. I'll call you off. Ed, go ahead.
I'm Ed Veal. I'm with McKinney Public Library, McKinney, Texas.
Lisette.
I'm Lizette Shear. I'm with the Latah County Library District, which is part of the Valnet Consortium in northern Idaho.
Mary Beth.
Hi, I'm Mary Beth Schaefer. I'm from the Central Kansas Library System in Great Bend, Kansas.
Christopher Davis.
Greetings and Merry Christmas. I'm Christopher Davis from the Uinta County Library. That's Uinta as in Uinta Wood. Anyway, Uinta Christie. Kidding. So anyway, we have Koha 17.05 as well. Happy to use it. Former Cersei Dynex library, so very happy to have Koha. Thank you.
And George, you'll have to unmute her, and I apologize. I'm not going to try and slaughter this name. It's P-T-I-A-N.
Her name is Ping. Ping P-N.
Okay. You want to say hello? Okay, we'll move on. How about Jason Palmer?
Hey there, I'm Jason Palmer from the Switch Library Consortium in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We are 8 academic libraries that use Koha 1705.
Michael.
Hi, I'm Michael Cabus. I am the usability developer at Bywater Solutions.
Heather.
Hi, I'm Heather Hernandez on a very unstable network connection in San Francisco.
All right. Robin?
Hi, I'm Robin Hastings. I work with George at Nichols in Northeast Kansas, and we are also on 1705.
Nancy? Scrambling to unmute.
There I am. Nancy Keener, Washoe County Library System in Reno, Nevada.
Margie.
I am with the Central Kansas Library System in Great Bend, Kansas, and I work with Mary Beth Schaefer.
Todd.
Yeah, hi, my name is Todd Goatley. I'm with Bywater Solutions. I am the Koha evangelist and advocate there. And I'm also with the Koha fundraising committee.
Awesome.
Or KFC.
Nate?
Hi, I'm Nate Karula. I'm one of the owners of Bywater.
Jesse?
Hi, my name is Jessie Zaro, and I am one of the educators at Bywater Solutions.
All right. Ben?
Hi, I'm Ben Doiber. I am a librarian at the Fargo Public Library.
Great. Rachel? Rachel, are you with us?
I think she posted in the chat room. She said she's at the Idaho State Archives migrating, go live end of February. So
Got
she
it.
might not have a working microphone.
All right, thank you. Teresa?
I am Teresa Lucas in North Bend, Oregon, and I am part of Coastline Coos Library System, which recently migrated in Curry County Library System. So there are 14 of us, 14 libraries.
Oh, all right. I'm going to slaughter this name. Is it Iola? Maybe she has no microphone.
I just unmuted her, so.
Oh, okay, let's go to Joel.
Hi, I'm Joel Sass with the Plum Creek Library System in Worthington, Minnesota.
All right. And we have a B. Johnson.
That's Barbara.
I just unmuted her. I don't know if she has a microphone or not. So.
All right. Well, let's finish up with Eddie.
I do not believe Edie has a microphone, but she's also from Fargo and right outside the store. So.
Okay. Excellent.
We could just have a moment of silence to make her feel awkward, though.
All right. Well, again, welcome to everybody. 26 participants. I think this is one of the biggest groups that we've had.
And sorry to be out while you're doing this. Fred King, Washington Hospital Center. We're all alone as far as support. I'm it. Well, and with the help of you. And I just...
And with Fred, Fred, you and Michael are up next with website.
Yeah. So I'm happy to report that it's almost done. I've added some more content, and I kind of want to show where that is. I will send a link. I have it up on GitHub as a link there that it can be kind of looked at. So I'll put that in the chat. There's two more content areas that I need to migrate over from the wiki. One, first I'll put this in the chat here. So one of those is, you'll see a link at the top. It says about koha-US. That's going to list the board members and membership and information like that. Learn from koha-US. I just need to move over the past conference information, and there's some things on the wiki that were sort of SQL report-based stuff and things like that. Move that over, but that shouldn't take too long. So my intention here is that I'll move those pieces over, and this site could be launched around the first of the year in January, maybe going through a couple more iterations just to refine it. So some of you have seen this kind of evolve, and thanks for your patience as it has. I was kind of optimistic in getting it done sooner than I had earlier, but it's on a good path. So this is the opening screen if you're looking at it. And I can share my screen if it'd be helpful. Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead?
I'll do that. Okay. So this is kind of the main page of it so far. So here, I just kind of have some highlights from the last conference and have some links from the wiki there. And as you look at this, if you think some language should change, right now I have collaborate with koha-US. As I was making some updates this morning, I thought maybe that should say join koha-US, because this page here has sort of the three options you can sort of get involved from my information gathering so far. So like you can join the listserv, there's a talk about the mentoring program, and you can join. So the listserv, of course, would link out to the listserv page where you can join there. The mentoring program, I have a form set up here. So some of this is sort of like clarity in terms of intention. So I kind of have a base set up here, right? So it's sort of talking about just a brief summary of what that is, and of course this text can change. My thought was that the people I'm working with on this, they could help me refine the language as well as you all. I just kind of wrote something here, and then there's kind of a form where you could fill it out and say, you know, I want to, you know, connect with a mentor, or I want to be a mentor. And then the donation page, same thing. I'm sort of, or the join page rather, for membership. I again just kind of put together some text in a form of data that I thought might be needed for that. And that's sort of the joining page, and then the donate page is here, and I'm sort of having the three ways to donate. I just need to pull in the PayPal logo. The Amazon Smile thing, I know I helped someone put that on the wiki. I need to grab that code and put that here. Once I do that, this should be in pretty good shape. So that's it so far. It's a pretty simple site right now. Once I put up the Learn information in the About page, that's sort of the content I have. That's basically on the wiki, plus some things that we had talked about in meetings about ideas about the mentoring thing and the sort of membership information. So that's kind of it. I would really like any kind of feedback in terms of language. Again, I just kind of wrote up some stuff thinking like this might be an approximation of the language. And the form as well, I was like, oh, they probably want like institution name and this information, but that could be different than what people want. So yeah, so any feedback or suggestions would be appreciated. Again, I will add the last bits of content probably next week, and then send that out to the list with all the content there. And then if it looks good, we can formally put it on the server space that we have for this, and make sure the forms are all working and go from there. So yeah, any feedback is much appreciated.
I think it looks great.
Awesome.
Michael, can you send the link?
Yeah.
So we can look at it rather than remember that from the chat.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll send that out to the list.
Need to follow you on Get anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like there's some good feedback on this, and I'll send the link out to the list because I want to make sure that everything is great and the language is good, and I'm sort of communicating the right messages. So I think having eyeballs on that to see that that's good would be helpful too.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm kind of anxious to get the fundraising committee stuff in there, the fundraising stuff in there. Would you be interested in participating with us in one of our meetings so that we can start to work with this?
Yeah, that'd be great because I get more of a sense of what you're thinking about, and that would inform some of the donate page information and the membership page information for sure.
I feel like we're a little lacking because I don't think we meet until the end of January, and I'd really like to try to work on this even sooner. George, maybe, or John, anybody, if we have any ideas about, how maybe we could have a meeting, but maybe a separate meeting just to discuss the website and what we can do to work with Michael.
That's a possibility. It's slowing down here now. So if we're going to schedule a special meeting for that purpose, it would be a good time before perhaps the end of next week or the first week of January.
I just made a note here that we should that I'll email everybody and see about a time.
Great.
All right. Well, yeah, again, I'll send this out to the list. Please email me with suggestions, criticisms, ideas, much appreciated. And hopefully we'll have this launched early 2018.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate all the hard work on that.
Of course.
All right. Let me get my notes back up here. All right. Membership. And I'm going to share out some information. So we're working on a membership form. We've put together a form, and I got to find my controls here. I'm not getting the share button. Where in the world did it go? Sorry, folks.
Are you on full screen? Might be up top.
Yeah, it's not coming up for some reason.
Put your cursor way up top, nothing pops up?
Nope.
Actually, I ran into that the other day. Shit, where was it?
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
It's down at the
it
bottom.
moved.
It moved.
Yeah, sorry. There was an update. My bad.
All right.
Bottom, top, it's all the same.
Everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. So let me go ahead and do an actual. Well, I think that is. Yeah, let me do an actual preview on it. Is that coming up?
Looks the same.
Hasn't changed.
Let me stop and restart here. Try that. Should look slightly different. It doesn't have all the links up at the top.
Yes.
Now you got it.
We're good to go.
All right. So this is the membership form that we're working on. It will ask for an email address and name, library organization. If you choose to answer that one, it's not required. Address, city, state. That way we know where everybody's coming from, how we can contact you. Some information about your organization, if you're part of a consortium. So this, I did ask for mentoring information here too. So Michael, we can kind of coordinate between the membership form and that and decide where that's going to serve us the best. I thought, getting information about mentoring here was good because we're going to be gathering membership information fresh and new. So I doubt we're going to have any established members that are going to go in there and do the mentoring thing, but maybe they'll update it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk about that. I provided information about the annual $25 membership fee, a link to the bylaws, and acknowledgement with the checkbox that they have read the bylaws. I put the logo down at the bottom instead of the top because if I put it up at the top, it would have been right underneath the email address with the way that the form is built, and it looked kind of funky there. So I put it down here at the bottom. When you submit, it will give you a link to the PayPal. We have a PayPal link specifically for the membership fee, and that is pretty much it. Does anybody on the board have anything to add?
Nothing to add, but I'll send you a message after the fact, Christopher, so we can address how people that would like to pay by check should handle that.
Okay. I do see I need to take a hyphen out of there. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have that in the confirmation when you click submit. So yeah, we probably should add that, or add that. I don't know. Can you add that to the PayPal page?
No, you are really, really tightly controlled as to what that PayPal page displays.
Okay. So we may have to have a landing page built off of our website somewhere, so that Michael, so that we can actually get to the payment section outside of the form. Maybe if somebody's already done this and they closed it and didn't link over to the payment section, they can, and then we can explain there. So maybe this after the submit page, we can link to that page on the website, and that'll have the payment information. Click here for PayPal, or you can mail your check to such and such place.
Awesome. Yeah.
Sound doable?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So good thing to bring up. Anything else? All right.
Sorry, just had to turn my microphone on. Yeah, Teresa brought up if it's per person or per library. Should we say that that we don't have consortium memberships and it's just only per person?
It is outlined in the bylaws, I believe.
Okay.
And maybe we can also help clarify that at the top, the header where it says instead of membership, individual membership.
Okay.
And maybe a line saying we're not offering group memberships at this time. Because people may not read the bylaws thoroughly.
I'm shocked.
I know. I realized I didn't want to break it to you.
Okay. Making some notes here. All right. Excellent. Let me stop that and go back to my agenda here. All right. Mailing list. George.
I was working on getting the membership mailing list transferred over to a Google group, and that got stalled when I got sick in the middle, like right before Thanksgiving, and then since Thanksgiving, I've been working on the upgrade. I'm hoping to get that done before Christmas. So I'll send an email out to everybody letting them know that we're gonna move from the mailman mailing list that Bywater's been managing for us to a Google group, and then get everybody moved over there. This also gives us the opportunity to get some names off of the mailing list that are some emails that are no longer valid emails, like Ed at Bywater Solutions, and I guess Ed left. So, but there are a few names on the existing mailing list that are no longer valid. So it'll give us a chance to get those off. So. We can't hear you when you're muted, Christopher.
Sorry about that. All right, next on the agenda, bylaw amendments. Jason.
Okay, so we have a few bylaws that we just want to add in. I'll link to the document. This is a document I just posted in the chat that I sent out with the agenda. So we've got two different bylaws we're looking at. The first one is in regards to financial management. And this was prompted by the migration of our financial institution. We need it to say in the bylaws who within their organization can act on financial matters. So that bylaw just says that the treasurer, president, and vice president have that authority. And then the second bylaw is just in regards to minutes, because we don't do minutes like an official organization where we approve them at every meeting. And we never have, so we decided maybe we should just put something in the bylaws that reinforces that, so that people aren't thrown off, new people coming in, whatnot. So that one just says that minutes are posted publicly following every meeting, and they're considered approved at the time of posting, but they can be contested or amended if you were at the meeting. And you just take that up with the secretary. So we just need to vote on those. And I think the best way we found to vote is using the raise hand function. So,
well, first of all, let's have a motion to approve the amendments as shown.
I move to approve the amendments.
Oh,
I second. Whichever.
Do we need to be a member, paid up member to vote on this right now, or?
We don't do membership until January, so.
Want to make sure, thank you.
It's just kind of loosey-goosey at the moment.
Yes, we need $25 from you right now, Chris.
You want to vote? Yeah.
Just you though.
Who was who made the motion? I missed that. Sorry.
Fred made the motion and Robin seconded.
Okay, thanks.
I was a bit late because I had to unmute my microphone.
All right.
George, I thought that if membership came with questions, it was $100.
No, that's if you opt out of my poetry reading.
I thought that was $200. Boy, we're raising money hand over fist.
Wow, Fred, you've pulled $200. That's great, Fred.
Yay.
Okay, let's get back on track here. So if you look at the list of, if you go down to the participants, it shows 25 people right now. We just need a majority to pass the amendments. So if you could raise your hand in the participants window if you are in favor of these changes. We'll get a quick count.
Jason, you can count me as raising my hand as the host of the meeting. I do not have the option to raise my hand.
Okay.
Apparently I don't either. Oh, wait a minute. No, I do. There we go. You don't have that at the bottom of your participant window, George?
No, because I'm the host. The host can't raise his hand to ask a question. I think that's the logic there. I do get a count. Right now I can see there are 16 participants raised their hand. I don't know if anybody else sees a count.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a raised hand either. Weird.
Yeah, and I don't know where it is on the screen because I never see it because I'm always the host. So
For me, if you open up the participants window, click on the participants and open that window at the bottom, there's a mute or unmute and a raise hand below the list of all the participants.
Thanks, Robin.
There we go, and we will close voting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Todd's raising his hand manually there.
So I'm seeing a count of 18 plus Todd and myself raising our hands manually. So that'd be, oh, now it's up to 19. So that's 21 total.
Okay, so we have a majority. Excellent. You can lower your hands. Thank you very much, folks. I know it's clunky. We're gonna streamline this as we go. All right. Jason, anything else on the bylaws before we move on?
Nope, I will get those updated on the wiki.
Okay. And oh, let me close. Okay, so committee reports, fundraising committee.
So the fundraising committee, the first thing we did at our meeting was we set a regular time for a meeting. It'll be the last Wednesday of every month. We talked about membership a little bit and the funds that will be available there. We talked about the possibility that we won't have enough money to go to ALA, and I sent Christopher Brannon an email discussing that. I haven't heard back from you yet. That would have been on. We can talk about it later. I'll send you another email today in case you didn't get it or in case something went wrong. The thing that we ended up discussing the most, Todd had an idea for a fundraiser. He called it the Koha-a-thon, which the idea would be that we would start an online conference at 8 a.m. East Coast time and ended at 5 p.m. on West Coast time, so there'd be a full 12-hour long, essentially online conference. And the idea being that it would be open to anybody that wants to come and participate and view the sessions. But we would have a sign up, where they have the option when they sign up to get the link to attend the conference. There would be the option to become a member or make a donation or those kinds of things. We all agreed we really liked the idea. and doing something where we could use some of the presentations we've already done at the last conference, maybe get some speakers, do some kind of live interviews where, we could have interview people like maybe Chris Cormack, Joe Ransom, have them talk and then do an interview session. But that was a fundraising idea we had that we all seemed to find it easy to get behind. We have the conference every year. We've had it every year in the fall, August or September, it seems like. And I think it would be an interesting way to make this an event maybe in the spring, to have the fall conference in person, but then to have a spring online conference, which would be easy for anybody to attend. So we also did, Todd was the one that had a lot of energy behind this, so we made sure to let him know that, when it comes time to round up speakers and to round up participants and to do a lot of the promotion, a lot of that's going to be on him. So, which he's nodding there, so he seems not to have forgotten that part of the meeting.
No, not at all. And yeah, I concur. There's, of course, some details that, we can get into more with everybody if you have some interest, but there's some things that we'll be working out and trying to put this together. But, we can grab people from around the world who want to make presentations. I think that it'd be really good if we could get, some of the educators from Bywater who are extremely knowledgeable about the different modules. That they could conduct presentations, we can do interviews, even, for all of us, since we're partners, just about all of us are partners, John excluded, to Bywater Solutions, that, maybe even having an interview with Nate and Brendan, find out about the future of Bywater, ask some, roundtable questions. If we come up with breakout sessions, we're going to find out better how to use Zoom so we can have different sessions. So there's a number of things and details that we still need to work out, but the idea behind the co-a-thon we think could be really productive and could help to hook some new members and hopefully gain not just membership fees and new members, but also maybe some donations. We will just be suggesting that they, a suggested donation amount aside from the membership. But, really we just want people to participate and see who we are and what we're doing and get a feel for the group and just see how wonderful it is to be a part of this, this movement.
All right. Anything else, George?
That was pretty much the whole meeting.
All right. John, Finance Committee, and I want to remind you that we are about 45 minutes into the meeting, and we do have a few other things that we need to discuss, so let's try to move. I don't want to be pushy on this. Let's try to move this along so we can get through everything, because we do have some important things to talk about here. So
all right, so with regard to our current finances, everything is going along very well. Once I can move this window up here, which doesn't want to happen, I'll do it this way, even though I don't like doing that. Financial status, we had no income and no expense in October, just the $5 banking service fee, leaving us a reconciled balance of $1,461.34. In November, we are expected to get, actually, we do have our quarterly Amazon Smile distribution of about $76. The amount of $220.18 represents that legacy expenditure that Robin had a check drafted for, which reimburses Neckles for the domain name registration, as well as the work that the consulting firm did when this organization got started, leaving us with a projected balance of $1,300 and change. The document and calendar for compliance was almost alarmingly simple. We are a very small group and we do not have the requirements that a lot of organizations have. There are basically two things we need to file every year. The first is a Form 990 of one form or another, which is based on our income. As the smallest type of organization, it'll probably take us about 20 minutes to file the form, a Form 990 EZ. Robin and I note that this form was not filed by the previous treasurer, and there really is no way to accurately construct the numbers required by it. However, you have a timeline of 3 years in which you do not submit a form before your nonprofit status gets revoked. So missing just 1 year is not going to be of harm there. The other thing you need to file every year is a State of Kansas annual report, which is actually not a formal written annual report, but the completion of a form along with the $40 filing fee. And we did not have to file one of those this year because we were incorporated within the last 6 months of 2016. So the review is done, the calendar's done. Now I'm working on the actual documentation to make sure that there's consistency from year to year with submission of both of those forms, and that should be done by the end of January. The budget is constructed. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. The board received a draft of that budget at the December 6th board meeting. Financial institution migration is on track. The board received my recommendation with regard to a financial institution, and we'll talk about that momentarily as well. I'm in the process of working with PayPal to migrate authorizations and control of the account over to me. I won't complete that work until after the financial institution migration has taken place. I wrote that letter to Kathy O'Gorman of Innovative Users Group. Not a hello, a goodbye, or a kiss my ass. So if she does happen to write a little bit later on, I'll schedule a meeting with her. But it's been over a month and she has not contacted me. So while it would have been nice to talk to her, I'm not exactly holding my breath anymore. And future Finance Committee reports will take a slightly different form once we actually have an approved budget up and running. Any questions or discussion points beyond the financial institution migration or the budget, which we'll talk about shortly? And let me go back to a screen where I can see people here. Anything? No?
Nobody's raising their hand. Nobody's putting anything in chat. I think you're good.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing that. All right, so the budget, I have crafted a budget. I sent it off to the board for review. There wasn't a whole lot to draw on here, so this budget is long on words and short on numbers. With regard to projected income, for those that have not had an opportunity to review the budget, I'm anticipating, based on the limited information I have and about only a year's worth of legacy data with no set standard for membership numbers or anything, projecting income of about $1,400. This assumes 50 individual paid memberships and about $150 in Amazon Smile contributions. You'll note, if you've looked over at the budget, there are no comments for individual donations, which I'm expecting will be handled much more by membership than anything else. Although I will note that this budget was drafted and presented before we had the fundraising committee, where we talked about the koha-US in February. There are no institutional or corporate donations because we don't have enough legacy history to say, oh yes, we can expect that much. And we are not anticipating any conference registration fees if we combine everything with the international Koha-Con being held in Portland in September. So where does that leave us with expenses? It actually, since we don't have very many fees, it actually leaves us in a pretty good spot. Compliance and reporting fees, about $40. Domain name registrations are really right now our only technological expense, our technology expense, since Google for Nonprofits in its current iteration is free. I'm estimating mailing and shipping costs to be $40. Financial and banking service fees will probably be one of our largest expenses, mostly because there is a fee associated with PayPal. As we get a new bank, there's going to be a fee for checks. There may or may not be fees for certain things that need to have that need to take place, and I've marked $150 for that. The organization needs to establish a cash reserve, and we should probably have within 4 years an amount set aside that is equal to 100 to 150% of our annual budget. We can start that process with the 2018 budget, putting aside 10% of the projected income. I might set aside a separate message to the board that might talk about putting some of our current funding aside for that as well, maybe another 10% to make that 20%. Most of what we would like to do would go towards the application towards the advancement of the program in and of itself. When the organization is done with its fiscal year, any money that is left over from its operations that has not gone to the cash reserves should ideally be placed aside for or given to a company for programming of KOHA and its advancement. For the projected budget for 2018, that would be $730, which is actually more than half of the anticipated budget, and we would thus be budget neutral. You'll notice in here that there is no information or no line holder, if you will, with regard to ALA. ALA is an incredibly expensive endeavor, probably totaling about $3,000. If our membership goes way beyond 50, we have the opportunity of examining it. We have the opportunity of saying, let's put aside some money for a future one. We're still looking at what we might need to do with regard to that. Let's see, mailing, I talked about financial institution. A lot of the expenses I've talked about in detail. That basically covers pages 3 and 4 of the budget. Projected income, keeping in mind, of course, that this is an incredibly variable process with nothing to draw on, $1,400, and projected expenses, also $1,400 for calendar year 2018. Let me throw this out to the board and to all of the general membership now for discussion.
John, everything is great. You've addressed the things that we talked about at the board meeting. I think everything looks fantastic.
We do, and this is referenced somewhere in the budget, I believe it might have only gone in the message. With this budget, if this budget is approved, we do have the opportunity of modifying the budget during the year if we need to. That just requires an additional restatement of the budget and an additional vote. It would be great to be able to say we need to revise this budget in a positive way. That is to say we've gotten more income, or perhaps we need to account for an additional expense that we could not have possibly thought of when this budget was approved. So this would be a budget. In fact, none of our budgets are set in stone. We do have the capability of modifying them with approval as need be.
All right, any comments or questions?
How about calls for applause?
That was awesome, Jeff.
Thank you.
That's a lot of work there. John, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Do we now need to actually put this budget to a vote so that we can put it in place for January 1st?
All right, do we have a motion? Anybody want to move?
I'm Mary Beth from Central Kansas Library System, and I move to approve the budget as presented.
Seconded.
That was Lisette. All right, please go ahead and pull up your participants window and raise your hand if you're in favor of adopting this budget.
The treasurer abstains as the crafter of the document.
Give a few more seconds here.
I want to show that I'm raising my hand. I just do not see this hand raising.
With Todd and I, that makes 17 or 18 now.
All right, and we'll close in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So that was 18 total, Jason, is what I see in the chat, in the control window here.
18 out of 24. And so the motion is passed.
23 technically, and since John abstained.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, out of 23. Thank you. Excellent.
Moving on to the other large financial matter awaiting our decision. I've been doing some exploratory work with regard to migrating financial operations from Kansas to Michigan. There's a document that I shared with the board that has not been shared out more broadly. I basically interviewed 2 in-person banks. These banks both were on the lists of branches with the banks with the most branches in the United States, and banks that are known to be friendly or have friendly policies or products specifically designed for nonprofit organizations. There were 4 banks that were overlapped between both lists, 2 of which were local to me. I went and spoke to bank managers at both of these banks and also considered a third option, a direct bank, that is to say an online-only bank, and examined their product as well. The direct bank was removed from consideration nearly immediately because it requires something called a linked account, which means you actually have to have a bank account at a brick and mortar bank to link to your virtual bank account. This is what they do with their personal accounts, and I really shouldn't have been surprised it was true with their commercial accounts as well. There was also no direct way to handle cash deposits, and there's also the very real possibility that somebody who follows me in the role of treasurer might not be comfortable with this direct banking method. So that basically left 2 banks under consideration, Bank of America and PNC Bank. Bank of America had 2 different products, one called Business Advantage Checking and Business Fundamentals Checking. They do not have a separate nonprofit product. PNC Bank does have a nonprofit checking banking option. PNC really is designed for smaller nonprofits. The Bank of America products, since they are not designed for nonprofits, really are meant to function and have a fee structure that is supported by larger businesses. Larger nonprofits would meet these criteria as well, but there are also significantly increased fees with both of the Bank of America products. There were ways to have those fees waived on a monthly basis, but given our past and our projected pattern of spending for the future, it was not viewed as very possible that we would routinely be able to avoid the monthly fees of Bank of America products. PNC Bank, on the other hand, had a much lower minimum opening balance and required balance. Even on the months where we do not happen to meet that minimum required balance, the monthly fee is only $5 and not a minimum of $14. Considering all factors, it is my recommendation to the board and to the membership that we pursue opening a nonprofit checking account at PNC Bank. Should this motion pass, I will work with Robin Hastings, who has very graciously continued to serve as a financial liaison for us with our existing bank account at Sunflower Bank, to ensure that that account is closed out and the funds sent over here for opening an account with PNC Bank. Any questions or discussion about the recommendation for a financial institution?
I don't know if you're looking at the chat, John, but there's somebody asked, is that PNC or P&C Bank?
PN, N as in Nancy, PNC,
Okay.
a banking organization which, if memory serves me correctly, started in Pittsburgh. That's where the P came from.
That's it in chat. No other questions.
Okay, if we're ready to throw this to a vote, if the other board members so desire.
Do we have a motion to go forward with PNC Bank?
Sure. I will, this is Robin, Jason. I will make a motion that we go with the PNC Bank as suggested by John.
I'll second that.
Fred. All right, last vote. Participants, go ahead.
People are already raising their hands.
Raise your hand if you are in favor of this.
The treasurer, as the author, abstains again.
Todd's raising his hand. And we'll close the vote in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's 22 this time, Jason.
Excellent. All right.
All right, I will work with Robin to move forward with the selection and implementation of PNC Bank as this organization's financial institution. Thank you very much to Jason and Candace, the two Finance Committee members who have reviewed documentation, and for their continued efforts for this really big push of work as we get our financial house in order. Please join me in applauding Candace and Jason for their efforts.
Good job. Thank you.
And John, take a bow.
All right. We are at 34 past the hour. I'm going to wrap up with a couple things here. So the open discussion for today is going to be moved to the next session. I want to mention that I do not want our general meetings to be consumed with a lot of business. And so I'm going to talk to the board about doing some quarterly reports on these committees and these big decisions rather than every general session being consumed with this. I do want us to be able to have some member participation and, other than voting and going on to things like open discussion of bugs, issues, and of course the things that we are going to fund. So I appreciate everybody hanging in there as we get all this stuff in order for this new year, as we gear up for membership and websites and all that good stuff. So thank you everybody for hanging in with us. The last thing I want to bring up real quick, we have a conference committee, George Williams, Vicki Kemp, Lisette Shear, and myself and Fred. We need to coordinate with, I guess, Bywater on their meeting and arrangements for the KohaCon this year. So, Nate, who's actually coordinating it on your end?
Brendan. Brendan's coordinating it, and then we have a team, we have a committee here at Bywater who's on some of our staff members that are on it. So there's about 6 of us.
Okay.
What I'll do is I will send an email to Brendan and to the committee that we have, just pretty much asking the question, what is it that we can do to make this, to participate and to make this, the whole conference go over as well as it can.
Okay, and you'll let us know, George, when we can meet regarding this. It's really weighing on what they're doing because we're just kind of adding to. We're not running the show this year, and we want to make sure that we help them in any way possible and enhance that, and do what we can as the U.S. group in addition to that. So
I will have an email to the koha-US conference, people that are interested in the conference committee, and to Brendan by the end of by lunchtime on Friday.
Okay, great. All right, before we close up shop here, I have one request of all of you that are attending today. George, what is the officers' email address? Is it just officers@koha-us.org?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so let me put that in here. All right. Oops. Guess that needs to go to everyone. There we go. Okay, so I'm asking everyone, I put that email address in the Zoom chat, group chat window. If you would make note of that address, I would like for you guys, as people that have been interested in koha-US, we're not officially members yet, to send us your comments about our group. What are the things that you are wanting to see happen here at our general meetings? What have you liked? What do you don't like? I know that we've gone into a lot of the technical stuff lately, and I'm hoping that we're going to change the shape of that, especially now that we have separate board meetings. So please email us and let us know how you feel about these meetings and how you want to see them take shape over the next year as we get into membership. We have not set an official launch date yet for membership. The board will have to talk, converse in email, and we need to decide when we're going to launch membership. I would prefer that we launch it with the website, so that we have everything in place, or pretty much in place. So, Michael, if you can tell us, let us know, the board know when we might be able to go live with something, that would be great.
Sure.
And we'll kind of plan around that.
Cool.
All right. So thank you everybody for coming today. Jason, I'm going to go ahead and officially close the meeting. Thank you and have a great month, and we will see you in January. Oh, what's the next date for the meeting? Let's say what that is before we close up here.
It should be
It's
the
like
10th.
January 10th.
Yep.
Same time, same channel.
Enjoyous winter holiday of your choice.
All right. Have a Merry Christmas and a New Year.
You too.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.